health is wealth, they say. You could say that that's a cliche, but strictly speaking, it isn't. If you are not healthy, there isn't much that you can do. So it's
even if you try.
Even if you try, my sister. So it is time for you to start paying attention to how you manage your health. Especially now, with the pandemic and the cost of food going up. What do you eat now? What can you afford to eat? That now becomes an issue, actually. It's not that you should eat this, this, this. Can you afford to eat it?
And what do you eat too?
Well, a doctor is here who's going to talk to us about all that. We have Dr. Olutoni Adeyemi, who's a public health physician.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for coming.
Yeah.
So, I admit that it is important for one to learn to manage one's health.
Certainly.
How easy is it in the Nigeria of
context?
Today? Yeah.
Okay, well, in the Nigerian context, to answer the question on how easy it is to manage your health, you look at different things. You look at the predisposing factors. So what are the predisposing factors to ill health? You could either have modifiable factors or non-modifiable factors. The non-modifiable factors, you cannot do anything about it. For example, your race, the fact that you're black, you're already predisposed to some ill health, some ill conditions. Your age, advancing age, your real age, the fact that you're growing older, it predisposes you also.
I like that.
Yeah, your real age. Not your
your body ain't gonna tell you any lies. Even if you lie on paper, and you say you're 45.
No.
Your body will behave as if it's 50.
Exactly. So your real age, your biological sex, that's the sex you came with. So whether you're male or female, also predisposes you to some ill health or some conditions, disease conditions. And finally, genetics, familial. There are some things that run in the family. For example, there could be a history of hypertension, diabetes. If it's in the family, it puts you at a higher risk. It doesn't mean that it's automatic or it's definite that because my father has hypertension, I also would develop hypertension as I advance in age, because there are choice factors. These are now the modifiable factors, which are they are the way we live, our healthy lifestyles, the kind of things we do.
So even if hypertension runs in your family, you can do certain things either to delay your getting hypertension
or prevent it totally.
So there are certain things you can do to make sure that you do not get hypertension. That's what you're saying?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
So that's why you need to be aware of your family history, because there are sometimes patients come to the hospital and you're asking them, okay, is there a family history of hypertension? What did your father or grandfather die of? They do not know. So you need to be aware of your family history so that you can take proactive steps, even from an early age, to start proactively adopting healthy lifestyle so that you don't come up with hypertension. Some of these healthy lifestyles are simple and basic. Things like, okay, I know there's a family history of hypertension, therefore I need to check my blood pressure regularly as I grow older. I know that salt is a causative factor. I need to reduce salt in my diet, because you need to reduce it now so that you don't get to a point where the doctor is telling you to use no salt at all, because no salt at all in your meal is very, very tasteless. Ouch. And I'm sure nobody wants to get to that stage.
Bland.
Very, very bland. So you need to reduce that salt right now before you get to that stage. So there are other things you need to do, healthy lifestyle habits that you need to start imbibing in your day-to-day living, so that you're not restricted. Your doctor doesn't just suddenly prescribe, oh, this has happened, you need to start exercising every day, 30 to 45 minutes. That's a drastic change. But by the time you start infusing it into your daily lifestyle, regularly, bit by bit, it becomes a part of you. It's a lifestyle. It's the way you live. And there are chance factors that can lead to the onset of diseases.
And I think, starting to take care of your health, of course, should start with the children, because I see that we say, oh, it's still a child, let him do this, let him do that. And at the end of the day, that child grows with those kind of taste board, for instance, and likes to take this kind of thing. And when they grow older, they are not able to quickly, shed those kind of habits. So how important is that? Very,
very important, because there are several studies that have been conducted that have been able to link childhood obesity with the onset of NCDs, that's the non-communicable diseases, like things like hypertension, heart disease, cholesterol issues later in life. So all that, oh, it's baby fat, let's just leave her. No, it doesn't work. work, because studies have actually confirmed that it leads to the onset of hypertension, diabetes in later life. So it doesn't mean that, oh, because your baby is maybe overweight, or send the baby to the gym immediately. You can start regulating the lifestyle of that child even from an early age. For example, now the snacks the child takes to school, you can swap. It's not all the time the child should take fizzy drinks or Ribena and things. You can swap, alternate water once in a while, maybe alternate days. You can include fruits. Let the child get used to eating fruits, because WHO advocates everybody, not just children and adults, you should have at least 3 portions of fruits and vegetables in your meals every day.
3 portions.
3 portions. So
can
3
you
portions.
Give us an example?
Yes, I can. A day. So it doesn't mean it's a huge portion. For example, if you take 1 banana alone, that 1 banana is already a portion.
Okay.
It depends on the size of your orange. A medium-sized orange can already be considered as a portion. A big orange can even be 2 portions already, because it's big. So portions, it just means when you portion it, like 3 to 5. Even your vegetable, for example, if you cook and you're eating like your normal eba and vegetable, that can already be 2 portions, and he has made up for 2 portions of what you're supposed to eat in a day. So for the children, yes, it's very important. Let them go outdoors. Now, our children are addicted to tablets. They stay indoors all day. They are not socializing. They are not meeting people. They don't go for fresh air. So let them go out. In schools, let them go for playtime outside, not inside. So physical activity and healthy, what they eat, is very important for the children.
Yeah, doctor, as you were talking, I had a mental picture of an obese child being put on a diet, and it wasn't a very nice picture.
It's never a nice picture, but there are some times that it becomes drastic, where they come up with medical conditions at that tender age, and they have to actually see a dietitian, and you have to put them on a diet. So what they do is they give them measuring cups, so they have to measure all they eat. But you don't want, because you're putting the child through a lot of psychological stress, mental stress at that point in time. So you don't want it to get that bad. So you want to start controlling it from an early age, so it doesn't become, the obesity does not become a disease state where we now have to consciously control.
Okay, you have spoken about a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
What constitutes a healthy lifestyle? And at what age should one begin to imbibe that?
Okay, so for the healthy lifestyle, the first thing we do is we look at what we eat, because we have to eat every day. Food is important. So our nutrition is the most important thing, adequate nutrition. And what exactly is an adequate nutrition? We have different classes of food. We have 7 classes of food. Now, we have a lot of food fad, food diets. Will tell you, oh, stay away from carbohydrates, eat only protein, eat low carb or low fat. This is not what an adequate diet is. For an adequate diet, the 7 classes of food have to be included in your adequate diet. You don't skip anyone, because they all have different things they do in the body. Water is very, very important. That's why a lot of people are getting dehydrated. From dehydration, you can just slump and faint, because we are in a humid environment. So we need to drink water regularly. That's part of a healthy diet. A lot of people forget to drink water, and I'm so happy that I can see
water, or it's just a drink?
Water. That's why I'm very happy I can see water right beside you, because you're talking, you're even, as you're breathing, you're losing water. So you need to replenish the water as you're breathing, as you're talking, as you're sweating, and it's good that you have water. So adequate diet, water, exercise. So you can take,
You want to exercise?
Yeah, because it's really bad. So people even have to put timers on their phone to remind them to drink water, because they forget to drink water.
We all can fall into that trap of not drinking enough water.
Exactly.
Because you really don't know, because if you're not mindful, you may not know the amount of water you take in a day. So putting a timer, or having, I see these days, people have
table.
Bottles.
Yeah, some even have, there are some bottles that are calibrated. So you see 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So when it's 10, you can look at your bottle like, oh, I haven't taken enough. I need to drink more water. Because there are a lot of busy executives out there. It's stressful in Lagos. Lagos is very stressful. You won't know when you're getting dehydrated. It might be when you now stand up, you want to talk in a public place, and then you feel dehydrated and you just slump and fall. Meanwhile,
look at the case of the head of EFCC.
Yes, exactly.
He was on live TV giving a speech, and he just
And he indeed confirmed
the next day he now said
the
he was
doctor
dehydrated.
said he was dehydrated.
Exactly. Yes. So because dehydration, what it does is it reduces your blood volume, and blood needs to take oxygen to the brain. And when oxygen does not get to the brain, you start feeling lightheaded, your knees feel wobbly, you're weak, and you just feel like falling. He was even lucky that he even had warning signs, so he could actually like step out and maybe go somewhere to sit. Other people are not so lucky because dehydration can be severe. It can be mild, moderate, or severe.
Wow. You've talked about family history, and family history will mean that there is some kind of check or something has happened that has been documented. One thing that I think we all need to do more is medical checks.
Yeah.
Because if you don't check your blood pressure, you're not going to know what readings you have. So tell us about that.
Yeah, medical checks are very important. It's ideally advocated that you should have an annual medical check and an annual medical screening. And the importance of that is you need to know your numbers. You need to know your baseline values. For example, if anything happens to you today, like maybe I come and I say I'm checking random blood pressure of everybody at Channels TV, and I check your blood pressure and I say that, oh, it's 150/90 or it's 140/90. You need to be able to tell me, okay, that's my normal range. It's usually like that. Or no, the last time I checked it was 130/80. That means there's something going on. So it helps you know your baseline figure, so you know you have an idea of what your normal blood pressure is. So when there's an aberration or when it's different, you can tell. You have an idea. These are the numbers I'm mentioning now. You have an idea of your blood glucose. You know that, okay, my blood glucose level is usually like this. You have an idea of your cholesterol levels, very important as well, so that you know when it's deranged. Then of course this one not so important, because even your clothes will tell you. You need to have an idea of your weight and your height, your BMI, so that you know when you're getting overweight or when you're getting obese. Are the critical numbers that you need to know at all times. Apart from that, as you're getting older, there are so many diseases that people are predisposed to based on their age or based on the fact that they are female. So there are other screening tests that need to be done. For example, some of the cancers in females that are preventable, like cervical cancer, you need to check regularly. For the men, they have to do their prostate screening. For some people, as they get older, also especially busy executives, they need to check their hearts. So they need to keep doing ECGs annually, check the heart function, and so many other tests depending on any other presenting complaint that you have around the period.
Sometimes we tend to want to be busier than the bees, you know, and okay, I will go tomorrow, I'll go next tomorrow, and this could mean it could mean that you're postponing, you know, some things that could have been easily nipped in the bud.
Early. Yes, and that brings another concept of silent killers. So in medicine, we have what we call silent killer diseases. And what these silent killer diseases are, they don't give you any warning sign. They don't present with signs or symptoms that makes you know that, oh, I need to go and see my GP like tomorrow or something. And examples of these silent killers, hypertension is the #1 example. Most times, those people that have hypertension do not know, they do not present with any sign and symptom. The only time they know they have an hypertension is when they present with a complicated state of it. So for some people, it might be a stroke. For some other people, it might be when they just suddenly collapse before they now check their blood pressure and know that they are hypertensive. So that's another reason why the regular checks is important. So you're on top of your numbers, you're on top of your figures, because so that these silent killers do not creep up on you. We hear of young people now these days, oh, he just slumped and died. He just slumped and died. Was he ill? They tell you no. But then he was apparently healthy, but nobody knew what was going on in his body at that point in time. But so regular screenings will help detect some of the silent killers.
Now, this healthy lifestyle, what role does exercise play in it?
Exercise plays a very important role, because a lot of the non-communicable diseases, the chronic diseases like hypertension, diabetes, even the heart diseases, they come about as a result of sedentary lifestyle. So sedentary lifestyle is a predisposing factor to a lot of all these diseases. So by the time you engage in an active lifestyle, and exercise helps you do that, WHO recommends that at least 30 to 45 minutes, 3 to 5 times a week. So you don't even need to do it every day, 3 to 5 times a week. This exercise helps the body. It has so many important benefits to the body. It gets your blood circulating. In fact, there is no organ that exercise does not have like a direct positive impact on. It helps you sleep well. It helps with mood changes. So even psychologically, exercise helps. It helps with your weight control, because remember I said that obesity or overweight, being overweight is also a predisposing factor to some of these things. So exercise is very important. But unfortunately, because of the kind of context we're in right now, a lot of people are busy. They're not able to exercise. It's already that I'm leaving my house at 4 a.m. I have to go to work. I come back late. When do I have to exercise? So we need to start thinking of practical forms of exercise. For example, you're in a building, a high-rise building. You want to go to your colleague, maybe you're on 2nd floor, on 8th floor. Instead of using the elevator, use the stairs. That would also count as exercise. Or you get home, you might even be the very busy executive. Your driver is driving you. Stop a bus stop away from your house. Just walk the remaining distance. So you're trying to infuse exercise into your daily. That's why I said healthy lifestyle has to be intentional. So you need to include it in your daily lifestyle. If you keep giving excuses, oh, I don't have time to go to the gym, I don't have money to register at the gym, my neighborhood is not safe enough for early morning exercise, you keep getting closer to some of these chronic diseases that you're trying to prevent. So look for practical ways to infuse exercise into your everyday lifestyle. You could even just stand up from your office desk and walk. We have these speedometers, things that measure our steps daily. Ideally, we say do up to, okay, that's perfect. You're living a healthy lifestyle. So you have to do like 10,000 steps a day. A day is recommended. So if you find out that you're lagging behind and it's almost evening, you can just stand up and walk on the spot to make up your steps. That's also a form of exercise. So exercise is very, very important, and there should be no excuse not to exercise.
We're in a pandemic.
Yeah.
And we have been in it now for about a year and a half. We have been told by doctors that there are certain things we can eat to help boost our immunity. And that may be the factor that will save us from catching COVID. Now, what kind of foods do we need to eat to boost our immunity?
Okay, so for boosting immunity, from the different classes of food, vitamins and minerals are the ones that have been isolated as things that help the immune system, boost the immune system. So the examples of the vitamins, so anything that is rich in vitamin B, C, A, D, E, K, that's the whole range of vitamins. And for our C is mainly most of our citrus fruits. So to answer that question in a not too complicated way, let me just summarize and say fruits and vegetables generally. First of all, fruits and vegetables, most of them have most of the vitamins we need, especially the particular vitamins that help boost immunity, vitamin C in particular. It also has minerals like iron, zinc, things that we also need for our cell longevity and all. So fruits and vegetables. Then if you now leave the classes of fruits and vegetables, we can now go to fish. So a lot of fish have omega-3. They have other forms of amino acids and things that the body actually needs for immunity. So basically, fruits and vegetables should be included. That's why I'm insisting that it should be 3 to 5 portions every day, and it should be included in our meals. All the other things, like maybe the carbohydrate, proteins, things that they are just like supportive in respect to that primary function we're talking about, which is boosting of immunity. But the main thing is fruits and vegetables. That's why they say if you eat enough fruits and vegetables regularly, you actually do not need extra supplements. That's the chemically produced multivitamins that we all take, because you're supposed to get them in the natural form, as natural as possible in its natural state from your fruits and vegetables. However, if you're now deficient in those vitamins, then we can now say, okay, go on maybe vitamin C supplements, or go on vitamin B supplements, or iron supplements, or folic acid supplements.
Okay, so I had an interaction with someone. You know, I took my COVID-19 vaccine, and I was saying, okay, so I was having a bit of pain in that area, and the person said, you didn't take paracetamol. I took 4 before I left, and when I came back, I took another 4. And I'm like, okay, so within the space of how many hours you took? 8. I said, do you know the effect this could have on your kidneys? Leave it. You know, I didn't have any pain. I said, you know, so it brought to my mind sometimes how we abuse medication. Let's talk quickly about that.
Yeah, so that's irrational drug use, and it's something the pharmacists have been trying to like fight against and do a lot of health education talks to educate the public, especially a particular age group, the elderly, like most of our grandmas. They all have like polypharmacy. They have so many drugs at home, like anything that is wrong with them, they can use a combination of 3 drugs. So all those constitute irrational drug use, and also drug abuse, like you mentioned. So now using drugs in wrong dosages, because that's already an excessive dosage. So we're trying to do a lot of health education talks. Pharmacists are involved because they own the process of rational drug use. And then the pharmacists, even the chemists, patent medicine vendors, because it's not only pharmacists that sell drugs these days. We have the informal drug sellers. They also need to be educated so that anybody that is buying, anybody that is buying a medication, we're not saying you should not sell this medication to them, but it should be regulated, and they should also be trained and retrained so that they can give them the right prescription. Because most of these people, is because of lack of information that they abuse drugs. But if they have, and they don't know the implication of using maybe funny drug combinations or in excessive dosage, if they have the right information, then I'm sure we'll be able to curb the irrational drug use.
So there's need for enough enlightenment and things that people should know. Because if you abuse these drugs, they are good for our health. That's why, there is a dosage to it. And if you think you have this pain that is not going, or you think that you are not feeling any better, it's better to talk to your healthcare provider than abusing the drugs.
Exactly, precisely.
Let's talk about mental health.
Okay.
It's also very important because you need to, the WHO says health is not just the absence of disease. Let's talk about how important that is and how we can handle it, particularly with all of the challenges that are going on around the world.
So thank you for making reference to WHO's definition of health, which is that health is a complete state of physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. So the fact that we're all seated here, we all look beautiful, I believe, does not mean
that we're all healthy.
It does not mean we're healthy at all. We don't know what is going on mentally with anybody. We don't know what is going on socially with anybody. And it's that complete state that makes up health. There's another concept of work-life balance, which a lot of people lack. Work-life balance, so you might be okay, work, everything is okay, but there's no balance between all the major factors, all the other major aspects of wellness, in which mental is also very, very important. So when this is lacking, it could present as physical manifestations, like you might even you feel you're ill because your mental health is jeopardized, or there's an issue with your mental health, or you have behavioral or social changes. All of a sudden you're snapping at everybody, you're getting irritated easily, you're angry, you're overeating, oversleeping, and so many of all these symptoms are actually going on. So when these kind of things happen, then you know that you need to see a mental health practitioner. You shouldn't just think that, assume it's just stress all the time. Yes, stress is there. It's an external factor that can bring about mental health issues. But then we have the mental health practitioners whose job it is to early diagnose when things are going off mentally so that they can help check and put in balance.
But doctor, when you talk about going to see a mental health practitioner, in our context, you would be regarded as being mad.
Yeah, so that's the mindset, and that's some of the things that those in the field of psychology and psychiatry are trying to change. That's why they are incorporating it even in our primary health care centers all over. So we're having things like wellness clinics. So it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm going to the psychiatry clinic to see a psychiatrist.
To see a shrink.
So I think they are doing a lot in that field. Rebranding is part of it, and also looking at it from a wellness perspective, not from an ill health perspective. Okay, are you living in wellness? Are you okay? So things like that would help remove the negative way in which people view mental health generally.
And you touched on stress now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this, because whether we like it or not, there are challenges that will, pose as
stressful
threats.
situations.
Yeah, so let's talk about how we can manage our stress levels.
Yeah, so first of all, stress is an external factor, and it's not all stress that is actually bad. So we have the good stress, which is called eustress, and we also have the bad stress, which is called distress. Yeah, okay. So there's good stress. What good stress actually does is that it helps you, for example, first of all, the way you react to stress is what would determine if it's the good or bad stress. So, for example, some people, they might give them high targets in their banking. Like, the bankers, they always have targets. Some people might react to that with, getting really, really distressed. They start drinking, smoking, staying out late because they start having mental health issues. For other people, it's a positive way. It's a motivation. It's a form of motivation to do better, do more. So they are reacting to that stressful factor in a positive way. So to them, that's a positive stress. But majority of us, I'm not even going to lie, are facing the bad stress because there are so many factors. External factors are environment, traffic, hustle and bustle of any city you're in. For example, Lagos, emotional stress. So to deal with this stress, you now need to consciously, first of all, admit that you're stressed, and then look for positive ways, because there are a lot of bad ways of dealing with stress, which is what a lot of people tend to do. Either they tend to start smoking, drinking,
alcoholism.
Exactly. So positive ways to deal with stress, first of all, simple things like prioritizing. If you're a top executive, delegating, have a way of delegating functions, organizing your life. Stress thrives when there's disorganization. You've noticed that if you work on a desk and your desk is untidy, you're looking for things, that's already... Merely arranging your desk can remove a huge part of the stress. If you can identify what is causing the stress, try and remove or detach from it. It could be a stressful situation. It could be a stressful relationship. Once you can lay your head on the stressor, then you try and eliminate the stressor from your life. Then other positive ways could be, listening to music. That's cool music, not the boo Nigerian music that we're used to. It has to be something sedative. Some people do yoga and some other exercises. Exercise also helps relieve stress a lot.
Dr. Olutoni Adeyemi. Very comprehensive. Exercise, food,
eat well,
sleep well, distress yourself.
Yeah. Then for married couples, sex is also important. They've also found that sexual health is also a very important part which can impact on your general health well-being. So it's advocated that you should, as much as possible, because even positive hormones, so even for stress also, sex is also something that can also help distress a lot of people. So that should be included. Yeah.
Loving and being loved.
Yes. So that's why some people say a hug a day keeps a lot of stress and emotions away, that you should keep hugging. When you hug someone, like if I can find somebody stressed. Okay, yes. They said
many
that
of us
COVID.
have been double jabbed. So you can get your jab. You can get your hug.
No. If you've been double jabbed, you still should not hug, actually.
Yeah.
So that was before COVID.
If you've been double jabbed and your husband has been double jabbed, what's wrong
with
for your husband?
That's different. No, that's totally different. You should definitely hug your husband and your children every day. It helps relieve stress as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, we have been managing our health with Dr. Olutoni Adeyemi, a public health physician. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.